So now this is an interesting topic. Why does Chicago Bulls need to trade Nikola Mirotic? So after the Bulls traded away Jimmy Butler and let Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo walk away in free agency, it was clear that this team was hitting the reset button and were going for a rebuild. To make the situation even worse, it was a bad time for the Bulls because they didn't want to admit they were going for a rebuild. But to make the matters even worse, Nikola Mirotic gets into an altercation with teammate Bobby Portis and suffered a facial fracture because he got punched in the face and was sidelined for nearly 2 months. To start the season, the Bulls were on pace for one of the worst records in the league at 3-11. They were absolutely terrible on both ends of the floor. Until Mirotic made his return and has propelled the Bulls to an 11-9 record through the month of December till now. The Bulls are now 14-26, 13th in the Eastern Conference, so they are no longer dead last in the Eastern Conference. They are now second last in the Eastern Conference ever since Mirotic has returned. Mirotic has been fantastic for Chicago, averaging 17 points, 7 rebounds, and shooting 46% from three-point range. However, this team has not changed any plans for the Bulls, as they are still reportedly looking into fulfilling Nikola Mirotic's trade request and to try to tank for young prospects in the draft. So the Bulls, despite all the success, they still want to honor Nikola Mirotic's trade request, because after the altercation with Bobby Portis, Mirotic wanted a trade. He wanted out of Chicago because they were saying, like, what the hell, I'm getting punched in the face by my teammate. But he's been really professional. He's come back. He's been playing the best of his career, and the Bulls are saying, well, hey, what you want to do, you want to win and we want to lose, but because you're playing so well, you're hurting us more because of how you have been playing, because we want to lose, we want to be bad, and we want to get a high draft pick. But with you on our roster, we can't seem to do that because you keep helping us win games. And Mirotic, he's a great player. He's a great player for today's NBA, as he can shoot, rebound, he's an okay defender, so any team would love to take him on, especially because he's having a career year. So his value is at an all-time high. So this makes it even easier for the Bulls to move him and gives more of an incentive for teams willing to make an offer to the Chicago Bulls for him. So there are a few teams that are right now currently interested in Nikola Mirotic. So far, the Utah Jazz and the Detroit Pistons have expressed their interest in Mirotic. Now, as for the Jazz, I think Mirotic would actually be a great fit in Utah, as they are looking for another scorer, because right now Utah's got the defense, but they do not have an offense whatsoever. Their offense is literally Donovan Mitchell, and at some point the rookie is going to hit a wall, and this team is not ready for that. They need another offensive weapon, and I feel like Mirotic could help them. I feel like, in order for the Jazz to do this, I feel like a potential trade would have to include Alec Burks, and Raul Neto for Mirotic. And the only problem is the Jazz don't have any picks to offer the Bulls coming up in the next few drafts. So I feel like this may be hard for the Bulls to take in, but I feel as though that this is one of the right destinations for Mirotic. Mirotic needs to be in an environment where his value is going to be needed, and in Utah, who's competing for a playoff spot, I feel like will utilize Mirotic's skill set to the best of his abilities. So I feel like that's a really good option for Mirotic to end up in. The second team is the Pistons, and they seem like another great option, as they are also competing for a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference, and Mirotic fits the kind of player that Stan Van Gundy is always after. He's looking for a stretch power forward who can spread the floor, be able to shoot the three, ever since his Dwight Howard days. That has always been Stan Van Gundy's approach to constructing a team, and it's no surprise that Mirotic is one of the guys on his radar. So Mirotic will be able to fit. Stan Van Gundy has been trying to do that similar thing with John Lure, but it has been working out. So a potential trade would have to include John Lure and maybe Anthony Tolliver's contract. The Bulls would have to take on his contract and a pick for Mirotic. So I feel like it's a hefty price to take up for the Bulls, but they get rid of Mirotic. They get a solid player in John Lure, and they get a draft pick in exchange for Nikola Mirotic. So I feel like that's another solid destination, as I feel like Mirotic will fit well in Stan Van Gundy's system that he's trying to run. Along with these two teams, there are also other teams that I feel could be great fits for Nikola Mirotic. First team is the Houston Rockets, as they would love the three-point shooting that Mirotic would give them, and it gives them an opportunity to get rid of the Ryan Anderson contract. So by basically what I mean is that in order for this to happen, the Bulls would have to take on Ryan Anderson's contract, which I feel like isn't a problem because the Bulls already have a lot of salary space, so they can afford taking on Ryan Anderson's contract in exchange for Mirotic, who will not only be better defensively for the Rockets, who have already improved their defense drastically, but he will be a much more consistent three-point shooter for them, much more consistent offensive player for them. So I feel like he will be more of an upgrade than what Ryan Anderson would be. So I feel like that would be another great option. Another option would be the Oklahoma City Thunder, as they need more front court depth and more shooting, and those are two things Mirotic would bring. And finally, the last team I feel like would be very interested in Mirotic is the Washington Wizards, and they need scoring depth, as well as they want to get rid of an aging Marcin Gortat. So I feel like in order to get Mirotic, they can basically trade Marcin Gortat to the Bulls. The Bulls are looking for a center. Anyways, they have enough cap space to afford Gortat's contract, and they can let him go at the end of the season or trade him away, whatever they want to do. But as long as they can get rid of Mirotic, maybe get a draft pick off the Wizards, I feel like they can get a solid offer from the Washington Wizards, because the Wizards really need a type of player like Mirotic, and I feel like Mirotic will help Washington, especially in the sense that scoring and becoming another scoring option for John Wall and Bradley Beal. But overall, I feel like it is in the best interest for the Bulls to trade Mirotic. Not only does he want out of the team, he doesn't want to be there, but his value is sky high right now. His value is at a point where the Bulls could get a king's ransom of a return for him. And right now, he won't help them in their future plans. Like, they both have different agendas here. Mirotic is trying to win, the Bulls are trying to lose. So what better way to do that than to go their separate ways? So I'm excited to see where Nikola Mirotic ends up. I wish him well. I hope he gets into the right situation, and I'm excited to see where he ends up. I'll keep you guys updated when we find out more information.